You know what I want to do? I want to make a video about how to move to New York City because it's such a fucking complicated process. I didn't know how all of it worked until I actually tried to do this. And I didn't know that you can actually get really inexpensive apartments there too. Like just as inexpensive as where I live right now. You got to be careful where you move because certain areas are owned by other groups of people, certain like Sheep's Head Bay is owned primarily by Russians, and you're kind of pushing up on their turf if you try to move in there without talking to the right people or knowing the right people. So you got to be careful, is the point. But moving to New York City is a very, very complicated thing. So maybe I'll do a video on it one day. I think that'd be pretty cool. Just kind of a short segment on the fireside chat, maybe about like finding a broker, what kind of brokers to find, and the pitfalls, and what you're going to end up paying and the requirements. For example, I've been having trouble moving to New York City because basically I have enough money to prove that I can afford to live in most areas, right? Or in certain the areas I want to live in. I can afford to live in those areas well within my means for that. But I haven't checked my credit in 10 fucking years. I haven't even gotten a loan in 10 years or some shit. Maybe 5 years. I don't have a credit card. I don't have anything. So not only is my credit what they call thin, like I don't have any real credit history, but it's actually outright bad because apparently when I lived in Tampa, Florida, like in 2013, when I left Tampa, Florida, the electric company hit me with an $82 bill and put it on my credit, and it's been sitting on there for 7 years. I didn't even know it was there. I never checked my credit, and it just kept eating away at my number, just getting it lower and lower and lower and lower and lower. So needless to say, not ever checking my credit, never getting a loan, and having this bill eating away at my credit over the many, many years, my credit is through the fucking floor. And it's nearly impossible to move into New York City as a result, because that's one of the main things they look at is your credit. I don't really have any other bad things on my credit. Not many. I think I have like a jeweler's bill from 6 years ago that's long gone. And I think I had a Suddenlink bill for like missing cable modem or something, like from 6 months ago. I moved into another apartment 6 months ago or 8 months ago or something, and I left the cable modem behind, and they charged me $200 for it and hit my credit with it. So anyway, needless to say, my credit's really fucking bad because I just never checked it over the 7 years, and if my credit is bad, that means I need a guarantor. So I can move into an apartment in New York City if I can prove that I make 40 times the base monthly rent per year. So if I'm getting a place for $1,000 a month, it has to be 40 times that amount. That means I need to make $40,000 a year to be able to move into a place for $1,000 a month, right? That's not a problem. I can prove that I make enough to move into the apartment that I want to move into. But if I have bad credit, as I do, or thin credit, I have to have what's called a guarantor. And a guarantor is basically somebody who co-signs with me, says, yes, I will, I trust this guy to make the payments, and I will back up his payments. In case something falls through, you can have my line of credit to make sure that he pays. And the guarantor has to be able to pay 80 times. They have to make 80 times the base rent. So if I want to get a place for $1,000 a month, I have to get a guarantor that makes 80,000 a year, not just the 40,000 a year that I have to prove. And finding a guarantor that makes twice what I need to be able to move into a place in New York City is pretty fucking complicated. It's been really, really hard to find a guarantor that makes enough to be able to prove that I can, that I could move in there and they'd be comfortable with it. It's not $1,000 a month that I'm trying to get either. It's more than that. So it's just complicated. And not only that, but I have to pay the broker's fee, which is 1 month's rent, and then I have to pay another month, the first month's rent and damage deposit. It was just really complicated. But I do want to go through the whole process one day on on stream, like from beginning to end. Once I move to New York City and I get through the whole process, I'll probably go through it. Loretta, I thought you had a guarantor. Do you need help finding one? Oh, it's complicated. Basically, you need. All right. So in my case, for me, I need a personal guarantor, not a service, but a personal guarantor that makes $200,000 a year. I don't make anywhere near that. I'm not trying to rent a place that requires that, but based on the rules that New York City has, that's how much a personal guarantor for me would need to make. Finding somebody that makes that much is not easy. So if you know somebody that makes that much, then feel free to put us in contact. But who the fuck makes that much money? Holy shit, dude. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to go to Queens and find a place that has less strict regulations on and will overlook my thin credit, pretty much. That's where I'm at.